The first 3 seconds explode with a shock. Eliana Marlowe's phone vibrates as a hidden camera alert flashes, and her breath stumbles in her throat. Rain smears the kitchen window behind her, each drop tapping like a warning she's ignored for too long. Daniel's voice echoes faint from the hallway, calm and warm, telling her hell be late again. Her trembling thumb opens the live feed, expecting boredom, spreadsheets, fluorescent lights. Instead, she sees Daniel seated too close to Jason Reed in a dim hotel bar, their faces low, tense. Daniel sliding a folder across the table. Her pulse cracks. Why lie about a meeting that looks nothing like work? She leans closer, the screen glowing against her skin, showing small details she wishes she could unsee. Would you forgive someone if the truth was worse than the lie? A distant thunder rolls, and she whispers into the empty room, Daniel, what are you doing? But a deeper question claws forward. What if betrayal was the only way to survive? Elena moves to the kitchen table, the cold wood steadying her as she forces herself to replay the video, slower this time. The rain outside becomes a steady hiss, a backdrop to her spiraling thoughts. She notices tiny details she missed before. Daniel's fingers tapping with impatience, Jason leaning in as if guarding a secret. Her throat tightens. Daniel had said he was overwhelmed at work, drowning in reports, but this meeting carried a heat and urgency she couldn't explain. Her pulse stumbles again as she wonders whether she's seeing the beginning of something or the end of something else. A single question haunts her. If she confronts him now, would he deny everything or finally reveal the truth? Elena jolts when her phone buzzes again, this time from an unknown number. A single line appears. You shouldn't be watching that. Her heart slams painfully as she scans the kitchen, half expecting someone to emerge from the shadows. Her skin prickles with the feeling of being observed, as if eyes linger just out of reach. She wants to delete the message, pretend it was spam, but everything inside her refuses to dismiss it. Someone knows what she saw. Someone is warning her, or threatening her. She grips the phone tightly, trying to steady her nerves, wondering how deep Daniel is entangled in something he never meant for her to discover. She steps into the hallway where Daniel stood minutes earlier, her footsteps muffled by the carpeting. She imagines confronting him, demanding answers, but fear coils in her stomach. Fear, not of his reaction, but of the possibility that she already knows the truth. The house feels different now, heavier, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. She presses her forehead against the cool wall, trying to piece together fragments of recent weeks. Late nights, hushed calls, tension lurking beneath his practiced smile. What kind of meeting ends with a warning text to his wife? Elena forces herself back to the kitchen, opening her laptop with shaking fingers. She searches for the hotel bar's location, wanting proof, something concrete, to ground her unraveling emotions. Each click echoes like a heartbeat as she zooms in on a photo of the bar's interior, identical to the video. Her chest tightens as she matches furniture, lighting, even the bar's curved brass rail. Daniel lied, not vaguely, not accidentally, deliberately. The realization leaves her cold, but beneath the ache is a spark of something sharper. Determination. If Daniel won't give her the truth, she'll find it herself. Elena wakes after a restless night, the mild morning light creeping across the bedroom floor in thin, uneven lines. Her mind feels heavy, strained by the images looping behind her eyes. The hotel bar, Daniel leaning in, Jason's guarded expression, and the message telling her she shouldn't be watching. She sits at the edge of the bed, listening to the low hum of the house, trying to steady the unease that clings to her like breath on glass. She replays the moment she discovered the video, feeling the anxiety rising again, a pressure that coils around her ribs. Every movement Daniel made in that footage seemed deliberate, every small detail sharpened by secrecy. She wonders how long these hidden pieces have been shaping their life without her knowing. When she finally pushes herself to her feet, a cold certainty settles inside her. The truth won't simply reveal itself. She'll have to follow the shadows, even if each step pulls her farther from the man she thought she knew. In the kitchen, Elena forces herself to move through the rhythm of a normal morning, but everything feels offbeat. The quiet is too loud, the air too still, her thoughts too sharp. As she pours coffee, she notices her hands aren't steady, small tremors betraying the fear she tried to bury overnight. She sits at the table, staring at the steam rising from the cup, trying to convince herself that she's overreacting. But she can't ignore the memory of Daniel's voice the night before, calm, practiced, familiar, and how it now feels like a mask. She wonders if he sensed something in her silence, if he noticed the shift when she tried to pretend she was fine. The kitchen clock ticks louder than usual, matching the uneven rhythm of her pulse. She knows she can't keep pretending. Whatever Daniel is hiding, it's already bleeding into her world, and if she doesn't face it soon, it might swallow her without warning. Elena opens her laptop with a hesitance that borders on dread, the glow of the screen washing over her like a cold wave. She types in the name of the hotel from the video, scrolling through photos and reviews, studying every angle of the bar she saw Daniel sitting in. The more she examines, the clearer it becomes. There's no chance she misinterpreted the footage. This was the exact place, the exact lighting, the exact furniture. She zooms in on a promotional photo of the bar's interior, and her chest tightens when she recognizes the curve of the brass railing. The same one visible beside Jason. She tries to piece together a timeline, connecting Daniel's excuses from the past week to the places he claimed to be. Each inconsistency piles onto the last until her shoulders tremble with the weight of understanding. Whatever Daniel is involved in, he's been tangled in it longer than she realized. And if she can see that now, she wonders just how much more she's missed. A sudden knock at the front door startles her, sending a jolt through her chest. She freezes, waiting to hear it again, the beat of silence stretching too long to feel normal. When the second knock comes, slower, heavier, her pulse races so quickly, she almost feels dizzy. She moves cautiously toward the hallway, each step echoing louder than the last. Through the peephole, she sees a delivery driver holding a small, padded envelope with her name printed across the label. Relief mixes with suspicion as she opens the door and accepts the package. The driver leaves without a word, disappearing down the path. Inside, she turns the envelope over in her hands. It's unmarked, except for her name and address. She tears it open with shaking fingers and finds a single flash drive. No note, no signature, nothing. Her heart pounds. Someone wants her to see something. Someone is pulling her deeper, and she doesn't know if it's a warning or a trap. Elena sits back down at her desk, the flash drive resting in her palm like a tiny weight, capable of shifting her entire world. After a long breath, she plugs it in. The screen loads, a single video file. She hesitates, every instinct urging her to back away, but she clicks anyway. The footage begins with a shaky angle of a parking garage at night, Daniel stepping out of his car, looking over his shoulder, as though expecting someone to appear. Elena's breath catches as she watches him meet a figure she can't fully see. A brief exchange of words lost to the grainy recording. Then Daniel hands over something small. A key, maybe? The figure pockets it and walks away without turning back. The video ends abruptly. Elena leans back, shaking, her mind spiraling. Someone is documenting Daniel's movements. Someone wants her to see the parts of him he tried to hide. And the question crashes over her, like cold water. Why her? Elena wakes before sunrise, her mind thick with the weight of last night's discoveries, the hotel bar, the warning text, and Daniel's calm, lies that now echo like cracks in glass. She moves through the quiet house, each step careful, afraid to disturb the fragile stillness that feels ready to shatter. The early light creeps across the floor, cold and pale, reminding her of the world outside where answers wait. Answers she isn't sure she's ready for. She replays the video again, slower now, tracing every movement of Daniel and Jason with a painful precision. Something about the folder Daniel slid across the table gnaws at her, a detail too deliberate to ignore. She senses a plan forming in her mind, one that scares her as much as the truth she's chasing. But fear can't stop her anymore. Something deeper is pushing her forward, a need to know who Daniel truly is, and what he is hiding that could drive someone to warn her in the shadows. And if she uncovers it, what part of her life will she lose? She drives toward the hotel district, hands tight on the steering wheel as the sun rises behind her like a slow-burning threat. Traffic hums around her, but she barely hears it, lost in the rhythm of her own thoughts. Every mile feels like crossing a line she can't return from. She wonders whether Daniel sensed her suspicion, whether he noticed the quiet shift in her the night before. Her pulse quickens as she approaches the hotel where he claimed he had never been. The glass facade gleams with an indifferent shine, a perfect mask that matches the man she now realizes she may never have fully known. She parks and stays seated for a moment, watching people filter in and out, each stranger unconsciously brushing past the truth she's hunting. Her breath trembles. If the video was real, and she knows it was, then something inside this building ties Daniel to Jason in a way he never wanted her to discover. Inside the hotel lobby, Elena feels watched even if no one is paying attention to her. The marble floors echo faintly with each step she takes, the air-conditioned chill crawling across her skin. She approaches the bar entrance, its dim interior still quiet this early, and she imagines Daniel sitting there last night, leaning close to Jason, exchanging that mysterious folder. She notices the bartender prepping for the day, unaware of the storm she carries inside her. She considers asking questions, but fear grips her. Fear of sounding desperate, fear of hearing confirmation she isn't ready for. Instead, she walks deeper into the bar, memorizing every corner, every reflection, tracing the path she saw on the video. The silence presses on her chest. If this place holds the truth, she wonders whether she's chasing something dangerous enough to swallow her whole. As she turns to leave, her phone buzzes again. Another message from the same unknown number. Her stomach knots before she even reads it. "You're getting too close." The words hit like a blow, freezing her mid-step. Panic prickles at her neck, but beneath it burns a flash of anger. Someone is watching her movements closely enough to know where she is right now. She scans the bar, the lobby beyond, the mezzanine above, searching for eyes that shouldn't be there. Everyone looks ordinary, harmless, yet she feels the pressure of a presence she can't see. Her breath grows shallow as she realizes the truth. Whatever Daniel is involved in, it's big enough for someone to monitor her every step. And now they know she won't back down. She steps outside, letting the cool morning air steady her racing pulse. The city noise feels harsher now, every car passing sounding like a hidden threat, every face a possible watcher. She leans against a concrete pillar, trying to pull her thoughts into order. If someone is tracking her, then she needs to stay a step ahead, and that means confronting the one person who started all of this, Jason Reed. She remembers the way he leaned in during the video, how he guarded the folder like a man protecting something explosive. A single truth rises in her mind. Jason knows what Daniel is hiding, and he might be the only one who can tell her why she was warned to stop looking. Her fear shifts into resolve. She pushes off the pillar and heads toward her car, knowing that her next move could finally expose everything, or destroy everything she still hopes is real. Elena drives across the city with a tension that curls deeper with every passing street, her thoughts circling Jason Reed like a storm she can no longer avoid. She replays the hotel video in her mind, the closeness between Jason and Daniel, the shadowed urgency behind that folder, and the warning text that followed her every move. Now she's headed toward Jason's office, a place she once thought was just another corporate tower, but now feels like a gateway into something dangerous. The traffic lights blur past as her pulse rises, each beat pushing her toward a truth she fears might change everything she believes about her marriage. She rehearses what she might say to him, but the words crumble each time. Would he deny everything? Would he act surprised? Or worse, Would he already know she's coming? She tightens her hands on the steering wheel when a sudden thought pierces her. If someone was watching her at the hotel, then someone might be watching her now. Yet even that fear isn't enough to stop her. She needs answers, even if they break her. She arrives at the towering glass building where Jason works, its mirrored surface catching the sky and twisting it into shards of light that feel more threatening than beautiful. Elena stands on the sidewalk, watching employees stream inside, each person moving with a sense of routine she no longer recognizes. Her heart pounds as she approaches the revolving doors, fear whispering along her skin. Inside, the lobby feels cold, echoing every movement with an indifference that deepens her unease. She steps up to the front desk and asks for Jason Reed, her voice steadier than she expected. The receptionist gives her a quick glance before tapping the phone, unaware of the storm Elena carries with her. As she waits, she wonders whether Jason will see her as a threat or a victim or just another problem to manage. Either way, she's ready. She has to be. Jason finally appears near the elevator, and Elena feels a jolt run through her. Seeing him in person, not filtered through a shaky phone feed, makes the situation feel sharper, more dangerous. Jason Reed looks calm, almost too calm, as he approaches with a controlled smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. She notices the way he pauses before greeting her. As if calculating, they step into a quiet conference room and she wastes no time, demanding to know why he was with Daniel at the hotel. His expression flickers, just for a moment, before settling into something unreadable. He says they were discussing a sensitive business matter, nothing more, but the tension in his voice betrays him. Elena pushes harder, telling him she saw everything. He meets her stare, a shadow crossing his features, and whispers for her to be careful. The warning sends a chill down her spine. She realizes he's afraid, not of her, but of whatever Daniel is involved in, and that fear confirms more than any explanation he could offer. The conversation sharpens as Jason lowers his voice, leaning closer as though the glass walls might be listening. He tells her Daniel has been tangled in something he shouldn't be. A deal that grew darker the deeper he went. A decision that spiraled out of control. Elena feels her stomach drop. She demands details, but Jason shakes his head, fear tightening his jaw. He warns her that knowing more will make her a target, that the messages on her phone are only the beginning. She feels her breath catch, the truth slipping just out of reach, close enough to terrify her, but not enough to make sense. Jason grips the edge of the table, his eyes darting toward the hallway as if expecting someone to burst in. Elena senses the danger thickening in the air. If Jason is this scared, then whatever Daniel has done might be more than betrayal. It might be something that could tear their lives apart. Before she can press him further, Jason suddenly straightens and tells her she needs to leave. Now. His voice carries a finality that sends a shock through her. He escorts her back to the lobby, scanning every corner as though danger might slip out of the shadows. Elena feels the weight of his fear pressing against her own heartbeat. Outside, the city noise rushes back in, overwhelming and sharp. Jason stops just short of the street and tells her that Daniel has crossed a line, one that powerful people want erased. He meets her eyes with a look she can't decipher, part warning, part apology, before stepping back toward the building. Elena stands frozen on the sidewalk, the truth swinging just beyond her grasp. She realizes that whatever Daniel is hiding, she's no longer chasing answers alone. Someone else is watching her every step, and the next move she makes could decide whether she uncovers the truth or disappears into it. Elena drives aimlessly for several minutes after leaving Jason's building, her breath shaky as she tries to stitch together the pieces of everything he told her and everything he refused to say. The city blurs outside her windows, streaks of color and movement that only deepen her disorientation. She pulls over near an empty riverside lot, the quiet settling over her like a heavy blanket she almost can't breathe under. Jason's warning repeats in her mind, clawing deeper with every echo. Daniel had crossed a line, People wanted it erased. And someone was already watching her. The truth churns painfully inside her, refusing to settle. Refusing to settle. She thinks of Daniel's smile, the warmth she once trusted, and now she wonders how much of it was real. She wonders when the man she married drifted into a world dark enough to leave tracks of danger in her life. As she stares across the slow-moving river, one thought steadies itself in her mind. She isn't safe, and she can't keep pretending she is. If she wants answers, she has to confront Daniel. Before someone else confronts her first, she returns home cautiously, scanning the street before pulling into the driveway. Everything looks normal, painfully ordinary. But the stillness feels staged, like a scene waiting to shift. Inside, she notices small things she never paid attention to before. The hum of the refrigerator, the subtle creak in the hallway floor, the faint smell of Daniel's cologne lingering from the morning. She checks her phone repeatedly, half expecting another warning message, half hoping for none. When silence follows her from room to room, it only amplifies her unease. She sits at the edge of the bed, fingers gripping the comforter as she debates calling Daniel. But she knows a voice call won't give her the truth. She needs to see his eyes when she asks him. She needs to watch the way he reacts when she says she knows he lied. A shakiness settles in her bones, fear mixing with determination. She whispers to herself that truth demands risk, even when love once made that truth unthinkable. Hours crawl by until Daniel's car finally pulls into the driveway, and Elena feels her heartbeat slam against her ribs. She listens to his steady footsteps in the hallway, the way he sets his keys down like any ordinary evening, unaware of the storm waiting behind the bedroom door. When he enters, his smile falters at her expression. She asks him where he truly was last night, her voice calm but sharp like glass. Daniel stiffens, denying nothing at first, only asking why she's asking. But when she mentions the hotel bar, the folder, Jason, the warning text, a cold shock flickers across his face before he recovers too quickly. He tells her she's misunderstanding. He insists it was business, all of it. But the tremor in his hand, the slight shift in his breathing, those betray him more than his words ever could. She presses harder, demanding the truth he's hidden so deeply. His jaw clenches, and for a moment she swears she sees fear in his eyes. Daniel steps closer, lowering his voice, as though the walls might be listening. He tells her she shouldn't involve herself in something she doesn't understand. And the warning sends a cold ripple through her. She reminds him she's already involved. Someone made sure of that. The argument sharpens, words cutting deeper as she confronts him with the truth he tried to bury. Daniel's composure cracks, revealing flashes of fear he can no longer hide. He admits the folder held documents tied to a deal that went wrong, something he tried to fix before it spiraled beyond his control. But he refuses to explain the rest, saying it's safer if she doesn't know. Elena shakes her head, refusing to be pushed aside. She tells him someone is watching her, someone who wants her quiet. Daniel freezes, realization striking him hard enough to drain the color from his face. In that moment, she finally understands. He isn't just hiding something. He's terrified of what happens if the truth comes out. Daniel moves away from her, pacing the room like a man cornered by his own decisions. He tells her there's more, much more, but once she hears it, everything will change. Elena holds her ground, steady despite the tremor in her chest. She tells him the change has already begun. After a long, fractured silence, he finally stops pacing and meets her eyes with a look that feels like an unraveling. He says the deal wasn't about money or work. It was about protection, about paying off the wrong people after a mistake he made years ago resurfaced with teeth. Elena feels her breath leave her. He admits Jason was trying to help him fix it, not expose it. And then, with a voice almost breaking, he says the message she received wasn't a threat. It was a warning meant for him. Someone wants him gone, and now they know she's looking too. The truth settles over her like a cold new reality. They are both in danger, and whatever comes next, she knows this is only the beginning of the fallout. The night deepens around the house like a tightening net, as Elena and Daniel stand in the aftermath of his confession, the air thick with fear. Neither of them can soften. She watches him from across the room, the man she once trusted now trembling under the weight of old mistakes that have reawakened with teeth. He tries to explain how the wrong people resurfaced, demanding favors he could no longer give, pushing him into corners he didn't know how to escape. Elena listens, every word carving a deeper ache in her chest. But beneath the hurt grows something stronger. Resolve. She won't let fear chase her into silence. The warning messages, the shadows at the hotel, Jason's panic, they all pulse together into one truth. Whoever is watching them is closing in. Daniel's voice catches as he tells her he never meant for her to be pulled into it. She steps toward him, her pulse racing, and tells him it's too late for intent. What matters now is survival. And survival means facing the danger head-on before it swallows them whole. Elena moves to the window, pulling the curtain aside just enough to scan the quiet street. The stillness feels unnatural, too perfect, like a held breath waiting to break. She asks Daniel if anyone knows where he lives, and the silence that follows is answer enough. He admits he met the wrong people in places he should never have been, and that they know more about him than he ever intended. Elena imagines unfamiliar footsteps crossing their driveway, shadowed shapes watching from parked cars, the kind of danger that hides just out of sight, but never out of reach. Her hand tightens on the curtain. She tells Daniel they need to leave, at least for the night, somewhere anonymous where they can think clearly. He hesitates, fear flickering across his expression, but she holds his gaze with steady determination. If they stay, they're sitting targets. If they move now, they stand a chance. A small one, but still a chance. They pack quickly, grabbing essentials without speaking, the silence charged with urgency. Elena feels the chill of fear creeping into her bones as she moves through the house, each room suddenly unfamiliar, as though danger has seeped into the walls. She catches Daniel staring at an old photograph of them at a beach years ago, his expression a painful mix of regret and longing. She touches his arm gently, reminding him they don't have time for memories right now. They finish packing and meet in the hallway, both breathing unevenly. A faint sound outside startles them, a car engine idling somewhere too close. Elena freezes, listening, her heart pounding against her ribs. When she looks at Daniel, she sees the same fear mirrored in his eyes. Whoever is out there isn't waiting for morning. The danger isn't distant anymore. It has found their doorstep. She nods once, and they both move. They slip out the back door, careful not to make noise, the cold night air wrapping around them like a warning. The backyard feels too exposed, every rustle of leaves tightening Elena's nerves. She leads the way toward the alley behind the house, her breath misting in front of her as she listens for footsteps. Daniel stays close, glancing over his shoulder every few seconds. The soft hum of the unseen engine still echoes somewhere nearby, making every movement feel like a gamble. When they reach the alley, Elena checks both directions before stepping into the shadows. The streetlights cast long, distorted shapes that sway with the wind, making it impossible to tell what's real and what's imagined. Daniel asks if she's sure about this, and she answers with a certainty that surprises even her. Running isn't fear, it's strategy, and strategy might be the only thing that saves them. They reach Daniel's secondary car, parked 2 streets away, a precaution he once said was for convenience, but now feels like a lifeline. Elena scans the empty street one last time before unlocking the doors. They climb in quickly, locking everything as Daniel starts the engine. For a moment, the world seems to hold still. Then a pair of headlights appears at the far end of the road, slow and deliberate, the car creeping forward as though smelling their fear. Elena's breath stutters. She tells Daniel to drive, her voice cracking with urgency. He presses the gas, and the car jerks into motion. As they turn onto the next street, she glances back to see the headlights accelerating, closing the distance. Her heart slams against her ribs, adrenaline surging sharp and fast. Whoever is behind them isn't guessing. They know exactly who they're following. And Elena realizes with a chilling certainty that the night is just beginning. The chase bleeds into the outskirts of the city, the night stretching wide and merciless as Elena grips the armrest, her pulse pounding louder than the engine. Daniel pushes the car faster, the road narrowing into a ribbon of shadows and broken streetlights. Elena glances behind them. The headlights are still there, unwavering, steady. Like a predator pacing its prey, her breath trembles as she wonders how long they can outrun something that already feels inevitable. Daniel mutters that he knows a back road, one that cuts through an industrial stretch the city mostly ignores. She nods, trusting him because there's no one else left to trust. The silence between them sharpens with unspoken fear, every second stretching thin. As they turn onto a deserted service road, Elena feels the weight of everything hanging over them. The lies, the danger, the truth still half hidden. She wonders if the night will end with answers, or with the kind of ending one never comes back from. Daniel cuts the headlights and swerves into an abandoned loading yard, the sudden darkness swallowing them whole. He parks behind a row of rusted shipping containers, both of them breathing hard in the silence that follows. Elena listens, every muscle tight, waiting for the pursuing car to pass. But instead of fading away, the engine hum grows louder, rolling into the yard like a slow, certain threat. Daniel whispers that they should stay low, but Elena can barely breathe. She hears the crunch of gravel, the soft hiss of someone stepping out of a vehicle, and the unmistakable weight of footsteps moving closer. She feels the cold bite of fear at the base of her spine. The truth Daniel has been hiding is about to find them, and there's no more running left. A voice cuts through the dark, calm, low, and far too familiar. Elena feels Daniel tense beside her as the figure steps into view. Jason Reed. Her mind reels. He was supposed to be the one helping Daniel, the one warning, but his expression now carries none of that shaken caution, only cold certainty. He tells Daniel he gave him every chance to fix the mistake, but now the people above him are done waiting. Elena steps out before Daniel can stop her, fury and fear clashing in her chest. Jason's eyes widen with something almost like pity, but it vanishes quickly. He says the messages were never meant for her, but once she saw the video, she became part of the problem. Daniel grabs her hand, pulling her back, but Jason raises a hand in warning. The truth falls into the open with a sting. Jason wasn't helping Daniel escape. He was helping guide him to the end. Daniel steps in front of Elena, his voice shaking as he pleads with Jason to reconsider, to remember the years they worked together, the promises they made. But Jason's resolve is carved in stone. He tells Daniel that loyalty has limits, and Daniel crossed them when he tried to fix things on his own. Elena watches, heart pounding, as Daniel's shoulders sink with the weight of betrayal deeper than she imagined. Jason lifts a hand, signaling someone unseen, and two shadowed figures emerge from behind the car. Elena's breath catches as she realizes Daniel isn't the only target. She is too. Acting on instinct, she forces Daniel backward into the narrow gap between containers, her voice trembling but firm. She tells him they aren't dying here. Not like this. Daniel hesitates, torn between protecting her and facing the consequences he brought upon them both. But the crack of footsteps growing closer decides for him. They run. The alley between the containers feels endless, every echo of their footsteps chased by the pounding rhythm of their pursuers. Daniel grips Elena's hand tightly, guiding her toward a tier in the fence at the back of the yard. Their breaths burn, their legs shaking as they push through the cold night air. Jason's shout rings out behind them, furious, echoing, too close. Elena ducks through the fence first, the metal scraping her arm, but she barely feels it. Daniel follows, the fence rattling violently as he slips through. They sprint into the open field beyond, the wind slamming against their faces, the city lights distant and unreachable. Elena knows this escape won't last. Jason will keep coming, and so will the people above him. But right now, they're still alive. And as she runs with Daniel beside her, the night stretching ahead like a battlefield, she feels something fierce spark inside her. Survival isn't a hope. It's a decision, and she isn't done fighting.